if I have a square, इसको at worst I can translate it, rotate it, scale it. We can't do anything more to it. All right, थोड़ा general हुआ, but metric properties like relative distances, relative angles are still preserved. So this is a class of similarity transforms. So let's try to add something more to it. We get what is known as family of affine transforms. अच्छा, सिमिलैरिटी का लिख देते हैं, P dash is C R P plus T, ऐसे लिख देते हैं. So if I want to get more general than this, how can I? See, if I write it as follows, does this make a bit more sense? It will. If we simply do a sanity check, this is a 2 cross 1 matrix, our familiar friend x dash y dash. इसको if we call this as any general 2 cross 2 matrix, okay, let's call this A B C D. This is a general 2 cross 2 matrix, unlike the constrained 2 cross 2 matrices we had there. जैसे यूक्लिडियन के केस में सिर्फ साइन थीटा कॉस थीटा था, एक ही पैरामीटर था. सिमिलैरिटी के केस में 2 पैरामीटर्स आ गए. ऑलराइट, इस केस में इधर ही 4 आ गए पैरामीटर्स, बिकॉज दे आर डिफरेंट. दिस इज आवर ओरिजिनल फ्रेंड एक्स वाई, एंड एडिशनली वी जस्ट ऐड अ टर्म फॉर ट्रांसलेशन. ऑलराइट, दिस इज कॉल्ड एन अफाइन ट्रांसफॉर्म. अफाइन ट्रांसफॉर्म में कितने पैरामीटर्स हुए? 1 2 3 4 5 6. It is a 6 parameter transform. And maybe you could use your intuition here. What is the worst thing that you can do to a square using this? Using an affine transform, what is the worst that you can do to a square? Any guesses? क्या बन सकता है square? All right. If you want a couple of hints, look at this structure. Suppose B, C and D were not there. Suppose just A were there. So x dash is AX plus TX. Translation को फिलहाल भूल जाइए. What have we done? We have scaled x. अच्छा, अगर D भी आ गया यहाँ पे, B और C नहीं है, ठीक है, then x dash is AX, y dash is DY. So this is differential scaling. एक्स एक्सिस को अलग तरीके से स्केल किया, वाई एक्सिस को अलग तरीके से स्केल किया, यानी स्क्वायर के प्रॉपर्टी से हम हट रहे हैं. स्क्वायर को यूनिफॉर्मली अगर हम स्केल करें, रोटेट करें, तो एक बड़ा स्क्वायर या छोटा स्क्वायर आ सकता है, टर्न हो सकता है. इस केस में अब हमने इसको थोड़ी सी खींचातानी उस पर हम लोगों ने चलाया है. ऑलराइट, सो वी हैव सीन द फिजिकल सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ दीज टू टर्म्स. दीज कंट्रीब्यूट टू नॉन यूनिफॉर्म स्केलिंग. ऑलराइट, इज दैट क्लियर? अब बाकी रह गए ये जो दोनों टर्म्स और हैं यहाँ पे, B एंड C. एनी गेसेस एज टू व्हाट B एंड C आर? और फिजिकल सिग्निफिकेंस. सपोज A एंड D वर नॉट देयर, दिस माइट गिव यू द फिजिकल सिग्निफिकेंस. अगर A और D नहीं होते, x डैश इज BY प्लस TX. दिस इज कॉल्ड shear. Okay, shear correctness, let's put it that way. Okay, but this is SHEAR, not SHEER. Hostelers generally play this prank at dinner times, right? When the stack of trays typically is kept one on top of the other, they generally apply a differential force to it, ठीक है, which is proportional to the height. जितना ज़्यादा height हो उतना ही ज़्यादा force लगाते हैं उस पर, till the point where all the trays fall off. All right, so it's or even graphite comes with layers of carbon one over the other which slide. All right, why our pencils write is basically because some of these graphite layers slide out. Okay, what basically happens is, okay, suppose I want to look at x displacement as a function of y displacement. ठीक है, suppose we had a rectangle, square छोड़ दीजिए, rectangle है, I apply a force, यहाँ पे थोड़ा कम फोर्स, यहाँ पे ज़्यादा फोर्स. ऑलराइट, द फोर्स लेट्स से इज प्रोपोर्शनल टू द हाइट. देन दिस वुड गेट डिफॉर्म्ड लाइक दिस. इट वुड गेट डिफॉर्म्ड इनटू, व्हाट इज दिस? अ पैरेललोग्राम, राइट? This is like those cafeteria trays stacked one on top of the other and then you apply that differential force. ऐसे बन जाता है, right? Now I can do this in both dimensions. दोनों dimensions में कर सकते हैं. इसमें तो सिर्फ x को y के साथ वेरी कराया, y को x के साथ भी वेरी करा सकते हैं in a pretty similar framework. So what is the worst thing that you can do to a square using an affine transform? You can convert it into a parallelogram, right? Straight line is the worst case when everything collapses into one. It's something like these boxes, cornflakes boxes or something like that, right? Cornflakes तो जब निकल गया उसके बाद बक्से का क्या करना है? What one does is one opens the seams and then उसको वैसे planar बना देते हैं. You can actually see an affine transform in action. Because what you are doing is उसका cross section देखिए, you are turning a rectangle into a parallelogram. That's it. All right. So you basically turn this square into a parallelogram. थोड़ा और general बनाते हैं. ठीक है, shear along x as well as along y. This is it. इसमें कितने degrees of freedom है? See, this is not accidental. Degrees of freedom कितने? अगर parallelogram बनाना है आपको कितने points की ज़रूरत पड़ती है? तीन पॉइंट्स की जरूरत पड़ती है पैरेललोग्राम में. ये और ये ऑटोमेटिकली बन जाता है. दैट इज हाउ वी टीच लिटिल किड्स इन स्कूल ज्योमेट्री. पैरेललोग्राम कैसे बनाएं? टेक एनी 3 नॉन कोलिनियर पॉइंट्स, जॉइन देम, उसके बाद इसके पैरेलल यहाँ पे एक और लाइन, इसके पैरेलल यहाँ पे एक और लाइन. wherever they meet, that forms a parallelogram. Now look, if I say that these coordinates are x1 y1, x2 y2 and x3 y3, then x4 y4 is uniquely defined and is a function of these. लेकिन कितने पैरामीटर्स हुए? 1 2 3 4 5 6 और इधर 1 2 3 4 5 6. See, this is not an accident. This just comes from this structure. This is affine geometry. Period. That's it. Okay. But wait a sec. एक square को we can deform it further. Can't we? What is the most general figure with 4 points? What is it? It cannot be a parallelogram. There has to be something more general than this. What is it? बताइए. हाँ, exactly. I heard the right answer. It's a quadrilateral. Right, quadrilateral. Quadrilateral में कोई relationship नहीं है of the fourth point with regard to the other three. ये सारी चीज़ें उसमें भी cover होते हैं. But it's as much a part of image processing as this. Now the problem is as follows. How on earth can I get an equation like this to have 8 parameters? Quadrilateral में तो 8 parameter होंगे. Why not? If there is no relationship between the sides of a 4-cornered figure, it needs 8 parameters. x1 y1 2 parameters हुए, x2 y2 2 और हो गए 4, x3 y3 6, x4 y4 8. इसमें 2 parameters हैं, ज़्यादा कम नहीं कर सकते. इसमें 4 हैं parameters. अब 2 और parameters लाए कहाँ से? Any guesses? And again, this is something that is so fundamental and is related to the basic process of imaging, because this is something that's called a projective transform. And this is also pretty interesting. In this, we go up 1 dimension. We say that this is the basic part behind mosaicing that I talked about. In this case, what we are considering is, now let's look at this structure, then I'll explain what this is. I'll explain this a bit later, but suppose we have a 3 cross 1 vector, we have a 3 cross 3 non-singular matrix, guaranteed है non-singular. तो अगर इसको invert भी करें, कोई किसी को कोई क्षति नहीं पहुंचाएगा. And this, let's say, is a scalar constant. All right. This is something, if you have studied something in graphics called homogeneous coordinates, this is exactly it. Graphics वाले इसको दूसरे नाम से पुकारते हैं और कुछ नहीं है. All that we are saying here is I represent a point like this. This is an ordinary scalar. This is a 3 cross 3 non-singular matrix. Okay, इसमें कितने entities होंगे? वैसे तो 9 होंगे. And this is my original point x, y, h. Okay, these are homogeneous coordinates. Now apparently this seems to have 10 parameters. 9 इधर और एक और लैम्डा ये. इसको 8 में कैसे ले आ जाए? And how does this relate to an affine transform? See, every transform subsumes the transform underneath it. Subsumes means takes into account. Similarity को affine के terms में लिख सकते हैं. यूक्लिडियन को सिमिलैरिटी के टर्म्स में लिख सकते हैं. अब हम सबसे जनरल जब जाएंगे, दिस इज कॉल्ड द क्लास ऑफ प्रोजेक्टिव ट्रांसफॉर्म्स. तो इसमें हमने एक्स्ट्रा क्या डाला है? नॉन यूनिफॉर्म स्केलिंग प्लस shear. इसमें वी आर पुटिंग इन व्हाट इज कॉल्ड प्रोजेक्टिव effects. अच्छा, ये कहाँ काम आता है? I'll give an example. All right. Again, it will be a absolutely general example. I'll take an example from real life and then try to relate it to this. Okay. Suppose I have a point here. Let's say this is 1 unit along the x axis, 2 units along the y axis. I can represent this point as 1, 2, right? Okay. Now, as long as points are finite, all is well and good. As soon as points start becoming infinite, तब क्या होता है? It's something like this. See, even mathematicians don't agree on the definition of infinity. Let me try to represent a graph paper here. Let's say we have a very large sheet of graph paper. ठीक है, things are good in the affine domain as long as one is within finite limits. All right, you have a neat representation. How do you represent infinity? Infinity को कैसे represent करें? See, even mathematicians don't agree on one definition of infinity. Some say that infinity is the multiplicative inverse of 0, but then plus 0 and minus 0 are the same, but plus infinity and minus infinity may be taken to be different. But suppose you take these pluses and minus infinities to be the same, then see, as long as space is finite, things are okay. Infinite होते ही everything seems to bend around and come to one point, which is the infinity point. Just like a CRT tube, right? यहाँ पे finite है, ठीक है, लेकिन infinite होते ही सारा infinity की ओर आता है. This gives us actually a new representation. This says the following: if I have homogeneous coordinates x, y and h, this is slightly strange. एक 2D entity है, 2D point है. Why are we using 3 coordinates to represent a 2D point? The reason is as follows: इसका actual point would be x by h comma y by h if the point is finite. All right, if I want to get the actual coordinates of the point, it would be this. So this also means that if I have a point 1 comma 2, I can represent this in homogeneous coordinates as 1 to 1, which is the same as 2 4 2, which is the same as minus 2 minus 4 minus 2. So all of these representations actually represent the same real point. ऑलराइट, ये सारे नकाब हैं, बस नकाब पहना रहे हैं, लेकिन एक्चुअली इंसान नकाब के पीछे वही है. दिस इज द सेम रियल पॉइंट. नाउ व्हाट इज द एडवांटेज ऑफ अ होमोजेनियस रिप्रेजेंटेशन? अगर तीसरे से बार बार डिवाइड ही करना है तो फिर उसे रखें क्यों? So, without loss of generality, in fact, we can say that if a point is finite, I can represent that as x y 1. Okay? Does not matter. The difference is when points become infinite. For an infinite point, let us say I have 1 2 0. 1 2 0 is an infinity in the direction of point 1 comma 2. It is an infinity. So, now you have a unique representation of infinity. You have an infinite number of such infinities. All right. Okay. If you are not very clear about this, one way to look at this is a ray of light. All right. Ray of light, and all of it is getting imaged on one particular image plane. That is all that you are saying. 3 dimension में points हैं, लेकिन their 2 dimensional entity is just one. It is a ray of light, or in other words, all points that lie along this ray of light, if you look in this direction, will appear to be the same point. This is the physical significance. चाहे वो infinity से ही क्यों ना आ रहे हों. The significance of this is an infinity in the direction of 1 comma 2. So, likewise, there are an infinite number of such infinities, but now you have a unique representation for infinity. All right. And what are these infinities? इधर एक है, इधर भी एक और infinity होगा, which will be along some other direction. All right. And suppose what you do is, अगर ये मोतियाँ होती और एक धागे से इनको जोड़ दें, so that धागा in effect would bound all of finite 2 dimensional space. All right. See, this is something like I don't know, I have seen these sort of bags in Delhi Sarojini Nagar market. These are the bags which you can lay out on the floor. All right. It opens out something like a circle. Okay. इधर एक hem है, hem सिलाई है इधर, and you, और इधर एक धागा है, धागा नहीं है, there is a string inside. Okay. So, when you lay it out on the floor, you can put everything on top of it, and after that just pull these. Okay, pull them together and you will get a bag. Now, remember the CRT model. As long as things are finite, everything is fine, but then the moment when you pull these strings, everything gets towards one infinity. Do you get the concept? So, this is something that is called a line at infinity. Mathematicians are strange, they think that this is a line, but mathematically this is a line because this has an equation h equal to 0. The third coordinate is always 0. Okay. So, I have just tried to explain in a non-mathematical manner what homogeneous coordinates are. अच्छा, अब इसका मोज़ेकिंग से क्या ताल्लुक है और most general transform से क्या ताल्लुक है? The relationship is here. See, I'm trying to answer the basic question of where on earth do those 8 parameters come from? It's essentially this. If I write something as follows, x dash y dash h is and I put a parameter here. देखिए ये 2 dimensions में है, 3 कोऑर्डिनेट नहीं हो सकते, अगर 3 है तो linearly dependent होंगे. That is what intuition tells us. You cannot have linearly independent 3D space embedded inside 2D space. You cannot. Here basically we do not have 3 equations, we just have 2 linearly independent equations. Is that clear? So, one of the things you can do is you can take these 3 equations and divide. Right. So, the 2 linearly independent equations will be 1 divided by 3 and 2 divided by 3, for instance. Right. So, that will in fact get rid of this constant also, the a constant तो हट गया यहाँ से. So, essentially our equations which otherwise where x dash is, let us say h11, let us call this maybe script h11 x plus script h12 y plus script h13 h. ठीक है, अगर इसको स्क्रिप्ट H11 लिखें, स्क्रिप्ट H12 लिखें, इसको स्क्रिप्ट H13 लिखें, एंड सिमिलरली y डैश इज तीन इक्वेशंस आ गए. अब अगर दो लिनियरली इंडिपेंडेंट इक्वेशंस चाहिए इसमें से, then we just divide. All right? No, to be mathematically strict I should also put the lambda here, so that अगर divide करें lambda हट जाएगा. All right, is this clear? How many parameters? 9. We need 8. We need to explain this in terms of 8 parameters. Make it 1. We can make it 1. Why? For instance, इस matrix में anyway you have a constant of proportionality. So any one of these entities, you can divide everything by that entity and absorb it in that constant, which anyway gets removed when you divide this. Okay, so without loss of generality, you can write this last term as a 1. All right, so that was essentially both of you had the same idea. एक parameter को किसी तरह से हटाना है. Okay, so we make it 1. So this is the most general thing. In fact, अगर आप mosaicing वाले examples देखें, blackboard वाले, all of them would have been quadrilaterals which were matched together. This is exactly what tells you what is going on. All right, rectangle को quadrilateral में हमने बदल दिया है. That is exactly it. This is the basic theory behind these simple cases of mosaicing. One of the things that we need to appreciate here is the fact that panoramic sensors are not omnidirectional sensors. Why? Panorama में ठीक है, हमने कैमरा लिया, यहाँ पे ट्राइपॉड पे लगाया, इसको घुमाया चारों ओर और फिर इमेजेस को स्टिच कर दिया. It can be shown that such images are related by homographies. All right, done. But this cannot be done in real time, because why? There is a mechanical movement that is involved. You cannot do this in real time at all. Cannot hope to do it. Plus, it is not even panoramic. कैमरा को घुमाया, you have just a 180 degree field of view. ऊपर नहीं देख रहे आप, नीचे नहीं देख रहे, sideways नहीं देख रहे. So that doesn't work. Ideally, I would like a camera which can look all around. Okay, and at the same time, we need perspective projection. Why? Because this is consistent with our view of the world. If we have to apply standard image processing or computer vision algorithms, we would want an image that is consistent with perspective projection. That's something that we'll want. Okay, let's do a simple step by step. This is a simple graphical representation. In order to have a wider field of view, I can maybe place different cameras at different points in the room, but then mosaicing theory says that in a general case you cannot stitch them together. So one way out is rotate a camera about its optical center, right? This is essentially getting a panorama. उनको stitch कर सकते हैं, but because of the mechanical movement you cannot do it in real time. We would want it in real time. What is real time? About at least 25 frames per second, right? That is, you have 40 milliseconds to process each frame. कम से कम इतना, वरना real time नहीं होगा. Okay. Now one way to go about it is use a fisheye lens. ये तो आपने fisheye lens वाले images आपने newspaper में देखे होंगे. Typically around Independence Day or so, some cameraman goes to a nice place like the Red Fort or so and takes a fisheye lens and takes a view. They appear to be distorted. आपने देखा होगा. That is, image के center में जो चीज़ें हैं वो करीब करीब ठीक आते हैं, लेकिन जो side में हैं apparently it gets distorted. Okay? A fisheye lens nearly has a 180 degree field of view or a hemispherical field of view. Then why doesn't one use fisheye lenses? कम से कम hemispherical field of view तो आएगा. Why doesn't one use fisheye lenses? There is a nonlinear distortion which is not easy to remove. There is another point why you might not like to use a fisheye lens. It's this. It's very hard on the pocket. Fisheye lenses are very costly. Okay, and it's difficult to make fisheye lenses that don't have too many aberrations. All right, aberrations नहीं तो आते ना lenses में. कई aberrations you cannot get rid of them. जैसे glasses, chromatic aberration. Like unfortunately, I have had bad eyes rather power in them ever since childhood. तो जब भी कभी ऐसे देखता था मैं, तो I used to see colors here. That's chromatic aberration. वो आता है. So it's very difficult to make fisheye lenses also. So what is a way out? All of us who drive to work or have driven would know this. It's a catadioptric arrangement. Essentially combine a lens or a camera with a mirror. Okay? So as to have a wider field of view, large amount of light captured by the mirror and then put into the camera. Typically rear view mirrors curved hote hain, right? It's to get a wider field of view. So to combine a mirror with a lens, that's the basic idea. Hey wait, ये तो नया नहीं है, ये तो महाराज अशोक के ज़माने का आइडिया है. महाराज अशोक क्या करते थे, उनके दरबार में ऊपर रखा रहता था. There used to be a curved plate, a curved mirror, and महाराज अशोक बस ऊपर देखते थे अगर उनको पता करना था कि दरबार में कौन क्या कर रहा है या क्या नहीं कर रहा है, right? And the thing was that it was distorted, but then our human visual system can make out in spite of distortions, but we would want actual perspective images out of that. So the basic idea stems from Maharaj Ashok's idea, but then we would want perspective images out of it. So what do we do? Okay, this is actually the work of a gentleman named Professor Sri Nair, and it's now laughable that all that he solved was a first order differential equation and got this result. That's what one of the things that I said. One of the most profound things, some of the most profound things are sometimes very simple. This is it. So essentially take a small surface, take an angle here, and after that just draw the geometric configuration, and then you have to solve a differential equation in terms of the slope and tan theta, put a relation for tan theta by 2. It's something that every 11th standard student should be able to do. Okay? It's a very simple derivation, and yet it's a profound result. It says that the shape of the reflecting surface should be parabolic. That's it. Okay? And this is it. This is something that has a hemispherical field of view. This is an ordinary camera, ordinary off the shelf video camera. नहीं, थोड़ा अलग लग रहा है. ये क्या है? This is something that's called a telecentric lens. Okay, a telecentric lens is not hard on the pocket, and a telecentric lens additionally has an advantage that a telecentric lens approximates orthographic projection. So you don't have to worry about what the distance is, for example, between the lens and the point where it's being imaged, because it's orthographic projection. It simplifies matters. You don't have to calibrate this camera fully, and telecentric lenses don't cost too much also. This is a covering thing. ये covering plate है, glass plate है, और इसके अंदर there's just a simple parabolic mirror. That's all. And what do you do if you want a complete 360-degree field of view? Place two of them back to back, right? It's as simple as that. These are off-the-shelf cameras. Would you like to have a look at some images taken with this? Okay, I have pinched a couple of videos from Professor Sri Nair's website. Okay, let's see if we can get this. Okay, full screen. This is what an Omnicam sees. अगर आपको पिछला वाला figure याद है, it's basically a parabolic mirror and a camera looking at that parabolic mirror. So this can see all around the room. Parabolic mirror में सब कुछ आ रहा है, apart from a blind spot. What is that blind spot? It is the place where the camera looks at itself. Camera अपने आप को देख रहा है. That's it. उसको छोड़ के it can see all around. So this is an example of video conferencing with one camera. Through software, you can simply with a mouse click place an infinite number of virtual cameras anywhere in the room you want, right? So all our very talented technicians here in the recording studio, you could simply take an Omnicam and put virtual cameras anywhere and get real time videos out of this, and all of these are images that have been taken with, these are consistent with perspective projection, all of these. So video conferencing is an application. Another application is navigation. What is the main way in which we human beings perceive depth? Stereo, because we have two cameras here, and essentially what happens is a back projection. all right. We know the images of the corresponding points. We simply back project them onto space wherever they meet or the point of closest contact, that is the 3D coordinate of the point that we want. So, essentially this is it. By this you can have any number of cameras, any number of perspective cameras and get 3-dimensional effects out of it. Okay. So, with one camera you can do a lot. You can get multi-camera stereo in fact. That is one big advantage of this sort of thing. And in fact, it is something like a laser. Laser को physics के लोग क्या कहते हैं? It is a solution in search of a problem. Similarly, here you imagine the application and there is a solution here for that particular application. Let us see some other applications. एक ये है, one application is naturally surveillance. So, all of this is done in real time on 1997 hardware. Okay. All of this can be done in real time. Look, just with rotating a mouse cursor, you are looking all around the room and you are getting, all of these are perspective projection images, all right. And the one on the top left here, this is what the Omnicam actually sees. So, remember that little nursery rhyme, याद है? Mirror, mirror on the wall or on the ceiling, who is the prettiest तो नहीं, naughtiest of them all. Okay. This is another application. Professor Srinaya's group used this Omnicam for a couple of applications, right. For example, this is a gyro based thing wherein the thing would stabilize itself. ये थोड़ा इधर उधर होगा लेकिन फिर वापस ये सीधा आ जाएगा. Okay. So, this can be used for auto stabilization of a robotic vehicle. और applications देखते हैं. This. Again, this is a similar application, right. ये अपने आप फिर stabilize कर जाएगा. Then have a vehicle that's navigating on its own. Okay. This particular vehicle has an Omnicam attached to it. So, it can do navigation on its own because it can estimate depth. Yeah, this is what in fact the robotic vehicle sees, or accordingly it does its navigation all by itself, obstacle avoidance for example. This is another example. Just look at the speed at which this object moves. It's moving pretty fast. That's what real time means, right? It's avoiding obstacles and moving around. Another application is gaming, video games, right? You have a head up display and according to movements on that, it generates virtual images wherever the user is looking. Okay, and that can be combined with a graphics program. And in fact, what Professor Srinaya's group did was take it down underneath the sea. This is somewhere near the Bahamas, and look here, this is inside a submarine. That is where the Omnicam is, and according to where the scientist wants to have a look, the Omnicam in real time gives him images from that, right. So, they took it everywhere. They took it on campus, they took it inside a corridor, they put it underwater, right. Something like that choir board advertisement of the 1980s, right. Put it on the walls, take it to the ceiling, that sort of thing. So, they did all that you can do with it, just basically played around. And here again, see, getting depth, this is stereo, this is our main source of depth perception. So, things that are closer appear brighter. So, all of this is done in real time. You can actually get 3D depth all in real time using this. So, you can actually do a lot with it, and they put it on the web also. मुझे मालूम नहीं अभी इस वक्त है या नहीं on Professor Nair's website, but at that time you could actually play around with this and have a view of things that were happening in, for example, wherever the thing was. We tried putting a couple of surveillance cameras inside a couple of labs at IIT Delhi. They would be on the web, so that people could log in and actually see around, move the camera around and see around who's doing what. But then what we forgot was that there were IIT students who were working inside. The first thing they did was disconnect the network cable. This is NICAM, this is non-frontal imaging camera. Remember one of the first problems that I talked about, wherein how nice would it be to have an image wherein every pixel is equally focused. इसमें देखिए जो चीज़ें 4 फुट पे हैं, that is within the allowable range for this camera. जो उसके पास है वो उतना फोकस नहीं है, जो उससे दूर है वो उतने फोकस नहीं है. Now have a look at this. Every pixel is equally focused. Actually there is a little bit of cheating here, I will talk about that. In this actually what you have to do is you have to do some naughty things to the camera, and incidentally whatever naughty things you have to do to the camera can all be explained by high school geometry. This is it. इतना ही सिर्फ है. This is a simple trigonometric equation which any 11th standard student can solve. See the idea is as follows. 3D में नहीं, उसको एक cross section में देखिए. Suppose I am looking at a line in the world. Alright, let's look at first thing. Suppose ये line अगर सीधा होता, इसका image सीधा होता, right? सीधा होता इसका image. Okay. Now what I say is इसको थोड़ा टेढ़ा कर देते हैं. Then the image of this line in the world will be imaged in a line in the image. Alright, you can show that if you take any 2 points, every set of 2 points defines a line, that will get mapped onto another set of 2 points. Line का तो line बनेगा ही, but the important part here is if you take a third point on this line, its image would come on this line in the image. Alright, and what says that this is true? It's simply this. Just do a simple trigonometric elimination, what you will get is this expression, that is it. So what does it mean for the world? For the world what it means is that if this were not a line but a plane, so everything lying on a plane would be perfectly focused if there by some method I could turn the camera imaging plane. Alright, suppose I put a little motor inside this which can help me turn this actual little CCD sensor. आपने कितने जनों ने कैमरा खोला है इंटेंशनली और अनइंटेंशनली? ये लेंस के पीछे होता है. If you take out any video camera, if it's a CCD camera, behind this lens will be a very small, like in the late 80s this CCD piece was 6 mm by 8 mm, इतना छोटा होता है. Alright, it's a very shiny piece and this is it. इसको धीरे धीरे टर्न कीजिए, images लीजिए, it is possible to find out which pixel is focused and which is not. How can you do that? In fact, some digital cameras use this as an autofocus mechanism. This is a rather practical thing. Autofocus कैसे करते हैं? See, most cheap cameras that you get have a autofocus mechanism. Manual focus cameras are actually pretty costly to buy. Autofocus, make a guess. You have all gone through a course on image processing. Make a guess. कैसे? What heuristic can you use for autofocusing? Exactly. What rays meeting at a point. How do you translate that in terms of a filter? It's a simple high pass filter. You देखिए, in terms of images, I think somebody else would have definitely talked about things like the Sobel operator or the Canny operator. All of these are image differentiation operators and they are very fast. It's a simple convolution with a 3x3 mask. उसमें आप देखिए strength of the derivative at a point. So essentially move the lens forward and backward. जिस point पे you get maximum strength, overall strength of the derivatives, that is the point at which your lens will stop, and that is the autofocus heuristic. Some cameras actually use these. Mechanical cameras have a mechanical autofocusing. That is a rather complicated thing. But with digital cameras it's very easy to get. Okay, the main point here was that it is possible to find out which pixels are perfectly focused. तो अगर हम image plane को CCD sensor plane को ऐसे ऐसे हिला रहे हैं और image में देख रहे हैं कौन से pixels perfectly focused हैं, उनको लेके we mosaic an image. Just simply take them out and paste. You get an image wherein every pixel is perfectly focused. That's it. I guess everybody has come to the end of his or her patience. I have also come to the end of my lecture here, but I'll end with something. We talk in terms of sensors, right? What I've discussed is image sensors. And okay, if you tell somebody, if somebody hears the word sensor, what is the first thing that will come to his or her mind? Sensors, movies, right? That other sensor, just CE and SOR. Actually, the two things are related. Actually, the two are related. The way I look at it is, why don't we allow little kids to see movies such as Sholay? Why? Because there's too much of violence, right? That might corrupt young minds. Therefore, why don't we allow BTech students, bachelor students, to do courses on sensors and this image processing? It's got a lot of violent mathematics, right? As we saw here on the board, which might corrupt young academic minds. Okay, so that is the way I relate it. So thank you very much for your patience.